The attack on New Terra, the Galactic Council chamber, glowed with sterile light, a place built for speeches and posturing, not mourning. On the main holoscreen, flames flickered and twisted across what had once been New Terra, a jewel of human ambition, now ash and debris. Fragments of domed cities, hydrofarms, and homes drifted in the wind. 50,000 lives, silenced in moments. Ambassador Krell of the Vorthic Empire stood before the chamber, his reptilian head held high, scales catching the light. He didn't try to hide his pride. "Let this serve as a warning," Krell announced, voice echoing through the vast amphitheater. "Human expansion has grown reckless. Let all know this is the fate awaiting those who threaten the established order." A hush followed. Some delegates exchanged glances, uneasy but unwilling, to challenge the Vorthic. Others, the old powers, nodded grimly. Only the human section remained silent. Admiral Elena Torres, commander of the United Earth's stellar forces, watched the screen without a flicker of emotion. Years of loss had carved features into a mask the galaxy could not raid. Captain Marcellus. Blake, her aide, sat beside her. He kept his voice low. "Should we order evacuation, Admiral?" The other colonies, "No," Torres replied, eyes never leaving the burning world. "Send word to Earth Command. Code Dragon is in effect." Blake hesitated. He had heard the old legends in training, whispers of a last resort protocol, secret that even captains debated whether it was real. But Torres didn't repeat herself. He relayed the order. Encryption algorithms spun, signals bouncing through secure channels to dark sites scattered across 100 systems. On the floor, Krell's speech ended. The Vorthic smiled, believing, as conquerors always do, that shock and awe bring peace. That night, on 100 distant worlds, human operatives woke from routine to urgency. On Luna, a woman in an unmarked uniform keyed in codes that hadn't been touched in a century. Deep in the Oort cloud, a submarine fleet surfaced from black ice, weapons humming to life. Hidden for decades, the Dragon stirred. No broadcasts. No threats, just a silent promise. You wanted a message. Now you'll get one. Ghosts in the void, it began quietly, almost too quietly. 3 weeks after New Terra fell, a Vorthic supply convoy failed to arrive at Kepler Station. At first, the Empire's command blamed navigational error or mechanical failure. When search ships found only silence, whispers started pirates, sabotage, perhaps a new local insurgency. But the disappearances grew. Patrols in the Centauri. Cluster never returned. Military outposts failed to check in. One by one, Vorthic military assets winked out as if erased by a silent, unseen hand. No debris. No survivors. No alarms even. Only the emptiness of space and the sudden, gnawing certainty that something was watching. The pattern emerged fast. Only Vorthic targets. Only military assets. No trade ships. No attacks on neutral worlds. Other Empire's vessels moved freely, as if the hand behind the strikes wanted it known. This was not indiscriminate vengeance. It was precision. Then came the message beacon, drifting on the edge of a nebula, broadcasting on every channel in every known language. You wanted our attention. Now you have it. Panic erupted behind closed doors in Vorthic command centers. The Emperor called emergency councils. Fleet marshals barked orders to increase security, but nothing worked. Ships vanished with the same eerie silence. Ambassador Krell stormed back into the Galactic chamber, demanding answers. How could the Council allow this? But the other species, long wary of Vorthic arrogance, offered little comfort. Some even watched with hidden satisfaction, as if the galactic balance was finally shifting. Back on Earth, Torres coordinated fleets from a darkened command room. She reviewed each operation. No civilian casualties, no collateral, no errors. Each strike was the product of decades of training and patience, all focused on the message. The price of terrorizing humans would be paid only by those who ordered it. Humanity's shadow fleets, the Dragon Protocol were at work, and for the first time, the galaxy realized how little it had ever known of Earth's full power. The council realizes the dragon and the weeks that followed. The galaxy buzzed with rumor and speculation. Was it really possible? Had humans possessed this level of power all along, waiting in the dark while the galaxy looked down on their youthful species? The old races, used to measuring threats by size or wealth, suddenly realized they'd never measured resolve. The council chamber overflowed as the Altarian ambassador called for answers. We have detected significant, coordinated human fleet movements. We demand to know, are you behind these disappearances? Torres stood and walked to the center of the chamber. Her boots made no sound on the polished floor, but her presence carried further than any amplifier. For centuries, she began, humanity has honored this council, respected your borders, and lived in peace. We did so not from weakness, but from hope. We built, we explored, we welcomed new worlds as friends. Even when treaties were ignored, we held back. But she looked directly at Krell, crossed a line no civilization should cross. You murdered innocents, not warriors. You made it clear there was no safety for our people. Now you want to talk about balance? The Altarian tried to interject, but Torres silenced him with a look. Humans do not seek war. We fight to end it. When you force us from our beds, we do not return for comfort. We return to end the nightmare. This is not a threat. This is explanation. You awaken something ancient: patience, planning, unity. The dragon does not hunt for sport, but if you disturb its sleep... She pulled out her communicator. Proceed with Phase 2. Across the galaxy at that moment, human war fleets uncloaked. Ships built in secret cruisers, carriers, and gunships emerged from nebulae, asteroid belts, and wormholes. Automated defenses on the Vorthic homeworld failed in minutes. Entire defensive lines collapsed without warning as human marines materialized inside them, using tech the Council had never even glimpsed. The Emperor of the Vorthic Empire, once untouchable, found his palace surrounded. A comm channel opened. Admiral Torres's image flickered before him. Surrender, she said, voice flat and cold. Reparations for New Terra. Unconditional guarantee. No more attacks on civilians. The Emperor, suddenly aware of the eyes of his people and the reality that every one of his countermeasures had failed, blustered. And if I refuse? 72 hours, Torres replied. After that, your empire will not exist. Not occupied, not conquered, erased. Your choice. Behind her, on the screen, he saw the gleam of cold determination. Not hatred, not rage, simply the unbreakable certainty that comes when someone has nothing left to lose. The last stand of the Vorthicanic and chaos gripped the Vorthic homeworld. Fleet admirals barked desperate commands. Ancient failsafe systems were triggered, only to be neutralized in seconds by human cyber operators. In every war room, the same faces appeared: human special forces, calm and relentless, disabling defenses and seizing command centers without firing a shot. The Galactic community, watching by encrypted feeds, saw a kind of war it had never known. Surgical, silent, absolute. Some Vorthic generals refused to accept defeat. They launched a last-ditch counterattack, gathering what ships remained and striking at a suspected human fleet assembly point. The Vorthic ships never arrived. Their entire formation vanished as if swallowed by the void. Later, human engineers would describe how a web of graviton mines laid over months had folded the local space, turning the fleet's own warp signatures against them. The Emperor tried one last time to rally his people with propaganda. But his words fell flat. His people had seen the burning cities, the empty streets, the silent surrender of their own defenders. They had seen that the enemy did not kill for revenge. There was no humiliation, no gloating, only the removal of power, the silencing of violence. Back in the Council, the news was delivered. Vorthic generals detained, Command A's disabled, all nuclear and antimatter stockpiles secured. No civilians harmed. Torres made one final call. This ends now. Surrender or extinction. A galaxy will judge you by your choice. The Emperor, staring into the hollow camera, finally saw the truth. This was not the wrath of a beast, but the judgment of a civilization determined to survive. He accepted. The galaxy learned the Vorthic Empire's surrender was complete, public, and unconditional. Reparations were delivered to the survivors of New Terra. The treaty was signed before the full council, under the watchful gaze of a dozen allied worlds who now understood what had been lurking. Beneath humanity's diplomacy, the dragon that sleeps until provoked, Admiral Torres's name became legend. Her command was studied in every military academy across the galaxy, not for its brutality, but for its restraint. Humans had proven that their real power was never in their weapons, but in their ability to wait, adapt, and act only when there was no other choice. Other empires who once whispered of human recklessness now respected the quiet confidence and unity that had turned the tables so completely. The phrase, "awaken the dragon," took on a new meaning. It became the line you never crossed. But on Earth, Torres sat in her quiet office, the stars glimmering beyond her window. Captain Blake entered, carrying the latest diplomatic reports. "The galaxy's quiet, Admiral, for now." She smiled, weary but proud. "Let's hope it stays that way. Humanity deserves to dream again, but if the dragon must wake, we will never hesitate." As the council chamber faded to silence and the news rippled across the stars, all who heard the story knew, you can shake the world, you can break the peace, but if you bomb human settlements, be prepared. You may have just awakened the dragon, asterisk,